Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Caring Conversations. I am your host, Rachel Hill, joined as always, even on the road, even while traveling,
Yeah,
Jordan Evans of Care. Hello, how are you?
I am good. I'm at a conference in Ocean City, Maryland. I feel like I haven't been home. Like, just it's conference season. So, I mean, some of you who are watching are probably in some conference city far away from home. We all know the struggle, but I mean, some of us get to go to Las Vegas during our this time, but like most of us are out on the road.
How dare you? Yes, I am back. I am back from Vegas, settled back in Pittsburgh, where it is fall and chilly. I broke at first blazer wear of the season, so happy to be home. Vegas was awesome though, and it was great connecting with our team here at
That's
Foresight.
awesome.
So yeah,
Well,
enjoy.
today's episode
Yes, I'm so excited.
is with someone who I greatly admire for the work that they do. I wish I had the impact on our care force and for our care force as an advocate as much as this guest does. We are joined today by Lori Porter, who is the co-founder and CEO of NAHCA, which is the National Association of Healthcare Assistants. And Lori, there you are.
Hello.
So
Thank
Lori,
you.
Lori has a background as a CNA. That's where you started your career, isn't that correct?
Pretty close. I'm a high school dropout who grew up in the Ozarks, and I got addicted to soap operas the summer between my sophomore and junior year. So I dropped out because I was going to be a soap opera actress. I was going to hitchhike to New York, and my mother was a dietary manager at the local nursing home in our town. So she had other plans. She said, "Girl, you don't have enough money to get out of town. You're going to get a job here." And I'm like, "Here? Oh my God, it's the chicken plant, the nursing home, or the mom and pop burger joint." So I'm like, "I'll go to the burger joint." And she's like, "No, I need a dishwasher." So, nursing homes have all these policies like you can't hire and supervise your relatives. So I thought, "Mama, what about the policy?" And she said, "I got special permission." And that's the day I learned that policy is only made to be broken.
Lori, I think you should have been a stand-up comedian. How am I supposed to host this show right now? You have me in tears.
Oh, you didn't get the memo. I'm sorry, Rachel. I meant to send you a menu. You're not hosting today.
Oh,
It's
okay, good.
Lori's. We're
I'm
not here. Lori's hosting. She took over. This is a Foresight takeover, and so this is Lori's show.
Oh,
Well,
Lori.
I
Wow.
do thank you for the podium today, that's for sure, and the dedication to the show being on and about and for CNAs. And, it has been NAHCA is, I think, 27 years old. We started in 1995. And, it has been a real challenging 27 years. It's been the best 27 years and the worst 27 years in certain ways. I started as dietary, like I told you, and within a few months, my mom only lived in the Ozarks because I loved being there and going to school. So she said, "If you're not going to go to school, sugar, you're going to go to work," right? So that's how it all got started. And I fell in love with the residents, but I didn't necessarily have a calling to be a CNA. My calling, if I had one, came 20 days in, because my mom had decided she was moving, and I thought, man, there's no way I can be a CNA. I had signed up for extra hours thinking they wanted me to help the maintenance man, I was a husky athletic gal. I thought, damn, I'm going to be mowing the yard, planting flowers. Oh no, the administrator calls like 10 minutes after I signed the extra hour thing and says, "Lori, good news. We got a full-time 3 to 11 nurse aide position. We're holding it for you." And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, let it go. Let it go." But mother's standing behind me going, "Listen here, you're not ruining my 5-year reputation here, young lady." And so I looked, she was gone. The first 20 days, all I did was look at what exit door I could park closest to at the nursing home and sneak out without anybody knowing I was gone. So just as soon as her U-Haul got out of sight, headed to Georgia, I was going to quit. But on the 20th day, I did something that is why I'm here today. We had a resident that I hadn't met her, but I knew her from all the talk about her. They hated her. She took a lot of time. Nobody wanted to take care of her. They thought she treated us all badly. So I had this preconceived notion of this resident before I'd ever met them. And, I'm not certified. I was an NA. And on the 20th day, I'd ripped off some linens from one of the other CNAs so I didn't have to go clear to the linen room. I snapped them off her cart, and this light came on, a resident's light. I thought, well, at least I can answer this light, So I go in there, and the second I stepped in the room, I'm like, I know this woman. I know her because of what everyone had said. You see, two things happened that day. I was standing in that doorway going, oh my God, this is the most stunningly beautiful old lady I've ever laid my eyes on. And the second train of thought was, holy God, I don't have an hour. I can't take care of her. I don't have an hour. She's not my resident. What am I doing? I'm stuck. And lo and behold, she took a long, long time. And I won't get into the whole story, but what I did to Miss Punton was abuse, in my opinion. It wasn't physical. But everything she asked for, I would go and hand it to her. But meanwhile, I'm thinking she is the most stunningly beautiful old lady I've ever, I'm just thinking all these wonderful thoughts, but doing this very nasty thing. Like, she's too much for me. She's a bother. Every bit of my language was diminishing her as a person. And she was on the toilet, and all she wanted were these 7 washcloths of varying degrees of temperature and dampness. And I thought, what? Could I have the dry cloth? Could I have the hot cloth? And finally, after a few washcloths, the poor little old lady, who was nothing but skin over bone, took every bit of energy she had to raise her head and look at me and say, honey, if you didn't have any more patience for the little old people, maybe you picked the wrong line of work. I was 18 years old. I didn't know I had the power of anything. I stepped back a time or two, and fortunately, what I thought was, how dare I? Who do I think I am? And I learned right then and there that night the power of a CNA. I knew I had the power to make an old woman feel beautiful, stunning. I was thinking it. Why didn't I say, Miss Punton, you're the most stunningly beautiful older lady I've ever seen? Were you a model? Were you a TV actress? No, I was. When you've stolen someone's dignity in their most vulnerable moment, it takes a lifetime to pay that back to society. She's been dead for probably 3 decades by now or more. But I'll never forget, because we have the power to make an old person feel beautiful and special, that a CNA also has the power to strip them of their every dignity in their most vulnerable moment. And so that is why I took the career path I did. I was a CNA for 7 years, never expected that to be a career. I mean, never expected I could do it more than 20 days. Now, every bit of it has been an experiment to a certain extent, because on the 21st day after Miss Punton, I didn't have much money. I was a CNA. I made $4.25 an hour at the time as a CNA. My brother built homes in Kansas City, and so I asked him if he'd loan me enough money to get some uniforms, because I was just working in white jeans and a white t-shirt. I hadn't really invested in anything because I'm getting out of here, That's what I was thinking. So he gave me the money, And I went to the uniform shop because I thought if I'm going to be the best nurse aide in the world, I've got to look like the best nurse aide, right? And I'd looked around that night after the experience with Miss Punton to see who got the most respect. And I noticed it was the nurses because they were in whites and they had lab coats and equipment, pens and scissors and things in their lab. I'm like, everybody respects that. So I went to the uniform shop the next day and got my uniforms, and I bought a lab coat. A lab coat was the bomb, and I starched that sucker up like it would stand in the corner by itself. My whole uniform would, and because I wanted to look sharp. And, I might have been all right if I'd have stopped there, but no, I got the pocket protector and the tape and the scissors and the pen light. And as I was checking out, there was this red and silver stethoscope sitting in a case. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how much is that? And she said, $9. I said, wrap it up, I'll take it. I wasn't thinking blood pressure. I was thinking jewelry. Boy, this will really set this outfit off, right? So I get to the nursing home so proud, so ready to go in there and start using the power of my influence positively. And I don't even make it to the time clock before I heard one nurse aide coworker say to another, look at her. She thinks she's a doctor. And I realized, oh my gosh, they hate me. If I invest in myself, I'm going to be put down by my coworkers. Now the nurses loved me. The administrator, oh, Lori, you want to become restorative? Lori, do you want to become a med aide? Lori, do you want to do this? Lori, do you want Alzheimer's training? And then I became known as the brown noser because I looked so good. The families all requested me. So I kind of become hated by my peers, but adored by my leadership. So what do? Most CNAs will back down. They'll let the co-workers win and rob them of opportunity, rob them of professionalism. And so I work just as hard to help great CNAs have a better attitude and understanding. It's all about the power of our influence as CNAs. And that's the message. After in 1989, I became a nursing home administrator because at the time, that's the only way I knew to make things different. If I can somehow figure out how to become a nursing home administrator, then I can change the world. Well, in 89, I got to be a nursing home administrator. In 1990, my first facility was shut down by the state. That normally doesn't look very good on a resume when you try to get your next administrative job that you got your first building shut down. No, I got a promotion. Now I'm over 8 skilled nursing homes, and I'm 26 years old going, my God, what do they want me to do? Get them all shut down? I wasn't sure what the goal was, right? But apparently I was a great marketing director because my little tiny, old building had a waiting list about a mile long. And when I went there, it had 15 empty beds. So they thought, well, we'll take getting shut down because it was really just, everybody has an excuse, and I won't get into that. But I ran up to 10 buildings in my career. And in 1995 or 93, I pulled over to the side of the road after being chewed out by a family member because I didn't have good caregivers at XYZ location. And, what I wanted to say is I got this problem in 10 locations. And that was in 1990. We had a staffing crisis this entire time I have been in this profession. And it doesn't have to be that way. I ask people all the time, so we started this association, and I'll pick back up on that, but in the National Association, the 27 years we've been here serving and supporting the CNA profession, it's all been a learning experience. And everything has led me to the next thing and the next thing. But I figured this out as a CNA setting at the nursing home. Most every problem that ails nursing homes can be fixed by nurse aides. Mm-hmm. And I can say that because I operated buildings. Everyone else could have stayed home. All my families depended on the CNAs more than anyone. And it's so difficult to get people to understand the power in nursing homes of CNAs and what they can rise to. When we marginalize them, they lose interest. They lose the understanding of how to use their influence. So why in nursing homes, however, this is where I was going to go a minute ago. My hospital CNAs here that are members of NAHCA, they walk around like proud peacocks. So does my hospice. So does my home health. You know, they are great. But why not nursing homes? Why do they walk around like this?
Mm-hmm.
So I had somebody in a very high position within our industry say, well, Lori, you know nursing home work is hard. It doesn't have to be. That's the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be. So all of it that you want to talk about today, like culture and things of that nature, are all raveled up in one ball of, if we fix the largest employee group working in nursing homes, if we fix the profession to be one, it's culture, it's staffing, it's treatment, it's self-esteem. Our CNAs working in nursing homes have been beat to death. The reason it's hard is the stigma. You know, when I was 18, 19 and a CNA, I'd go out to a party, and man, I did party. There's no doubt about it. The music, boom, 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 boom.
You know, you were fun. I mean, you are still fun.
Yes. Drinking a Bud Light long neck, smoking a Marlboro Light, and just, you know, having a ball. And somebody go, what do you do? And I said, I'm a CNA down at the nursing home. And it was like, you could have heard a pin drop. Oh, God. I don't know how you can do that. It takes a special person. Special. And you're not feeling very special. By the next party, what do you do? Oh, I'm a dispatcher down at the fire station, and it was cool. So you start lying because you don't earn any points by saying you're a CNA anywhere. And, you know, CNAs say, well, we're just butt wipers. And I'm like, you gave yourself that name. I've been in this profession 42 years, and I've never heard any nurse or manager call, you know, page the butt wipers. I need my butt wipers to the nursing station stat. No, CNAs call themselves that. Is this comments?
Yeah.
These are comments. And
today.
In Iowa a few years ago, when I did an RV tour, they thought I was running for president and was going to vote for me. So you gotta be careful when you get on a bus in Iowa. It looks political. Anyway, but you know, I feel for everybody. I'm for minimum staffing ratios, and of course the industry comes down on me like, you know, how can you do that? I don't mean today. We haven't developed the care force we need.
Can't do it today.
Right. But we have to make investments in long-term care. I'm going to be reaching out to the Department of Labor from today forward to get this school credentialed, because there is no reason. The reason I was concerned about today is in my very own family, in my wife's family. Her cousin has been in skilled care this past year. And tomorrow there'll be a criminal neglect complaint made with the sheriff's department. His condition is criminal neglect, malnutrition. I could put up the pictures right now that would show you he's eating out of this slop looking little things we used back in 80s to insulate food. And he's just eating like a chained up dog. And the next picture is his entire rib cage and spine that you can see. And the doctor says he's never seen anyone more malnourished in his entire physician career. And this is what we have happening today, folks. And I am so furious with our country because we're always about moving forward, fixing it for the future. My future's now. I turned 60 years old last month. My future's here. And I've been working 42 years to improve it. And every time it's about next decade, 2 decades down the road, let's make it. Let's change we've been at culture change 30 years. And there's probably 200 or 300 buildings in the nation practicing it. I don't blame the nursing homes. Business gets by with what business can get by with. It's always been the way. But I blame our government. Come on. And I know people hate the government. And, it always cracks me up when I see political posts thinking that the liberals love the government and think they'll save them, and the conservatives hate the government. No, I don't know anybody that likes the government, no matter where we are. None of us are going, the government. No. But if nursing homes are the most regulated business, then why are they in the shape they're in?
100%.
The home where my wife's cousin hasn't had an inspection since 2020. People are starving to death there, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. And that is what is the shame in all of this, is that we are allowing this suffering today, because to become a CNA, and there are still people who will become them. In Texas, we are approved as a NAHCA provider to provide the CNA certification online. We have not had a recruitment problem for students. What we've had is a culture problem in trying to place them places we know they won't stay more than a week or two. So we have to fix a lot of things all at one time, but there are solutions for this. And to keep these residents' lives hanging in the balance, because we say, oh, there's a shortage. There does not have to be a shortage. And we know this. So, of course, nursing homes are broken, and I'm not going to beat on them a whole lot more. But this malnutrition is all because of staffing. It's not because it's a terrible nursing home. It's because terrible things are happening in nursing homes to really good people. And so, and we just go, well, we can't fix it now, but let's look to the future. Let's do a research project for the next 5 years to do infection control training for nursing. 5 years? We don't have 5 years. Our residents today don't have 5 years. So I believe that CNAs are really, really the most important person. I've never said that before. Even the years I was a CNA, I wasn't one of those CNAs to say, oh, they couldn't run the place without us. Because I realize it takes everybody. Let dietary stay home or go on vacation all the same week. We'll know how important every employee is, right? So CNAs aren't the most important until now. When people aren't being fed, people aren't getting bathed, people aren't getting shaved, their hair shampooed. These are things now that make this a critical situation. And so we're going to continue to do that, to look for solutions and put them before the Department of Labor in hopes that we can get some professional, caring people at the bedside, certified, who want to be a part of this career. So many people think CNAs are wannabe nurses. I can tell you right now, there was only one time in my life that I wished I was a nurse rather than a CNA. And that is when we started this association. I wouldn't have had to gone broke and had lost my house and 2 cars, because I could have worked PRN on the weekends as a nurse at the hospital. Right? That you got to have something when you're starting a new business, right? And have something that can sustain you. My mom pulled up in the driveway when Ford was there repossessing Lisa and I's cars in 96 and said, Lori, go back to work, get your stuff back. This is never going to work. You are never going to get facilities to buy a membership for CNAs, and CNAs can't afford to buy their own. You just got credit for the first time in your life. Go back to work. Lisa, you're an RN. Go back to work. Well, she already was working, because we'd have never survived if she hadn't kept working. And so, well, this is a labor of love, because we know it is right. We know CNAs are the saving grace of residents. Do you know who residents think of as their expert? It's not the administrator. It's not the DON. Their expert is their CNA. And so that is of the family too. The family's experts are the CNAs. So I've never, without oversight, it's very easy to fool resident families and residents themselves. And so there should be a better oversight to protect them, not a paper trail. I've always wondered how if as a matter of fact, where the cousin hadn't had a survey since 2020 and was a 1-star staffing building. Families still don't know how to look into nursing homes and evaluate them. And so I've always wondered how you could be a 5-star rated building with a 1-star staff. And then, one of the biggest laughs I get when I'm out on the road is how much nursing homes have always celebrated deficiency-free surveys. Get a banner. Oh, we just got deficiency-free. Get maintenance. Get a banner design. Get a banner. Call the sign company. Get the banner. Get the banner hung. Oh, the banner's here. Get maintenance. We got to get this banner hung. Deficiency-free survey. You realize that's just meeting minimum standards, right? They're all celebrating and getting a banner for minimum standards. I've never seen LeBron James celebrate minimum. Never seen anybody come out high-fiving over minimum. I'm going to fall down in my own office if I'm not careful. Anyway.
Everyone, welcome to Lori's TED Talk. welcome. Lori, I want to jump in here because I find everything that you're saying. I mean, it's Jordan said, before we got on the air that my eyes continue to be open to, what's going on in this industry, and particularly with CNAs. My mom was an LPN for, 20 plus years. And, I would hear her tell me stories, she would get docked on her pay for staying longer with residents and not getting her med passes done fast enough and all of these things. And I feel like my mom didn't even feel that empowered. So I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're getting to the root of is fixing this recruiting problem to an extent looks like empowering CNAs. Just start there, make them feel special, positive affirmations, letting them know that they matter. Like, honestly, I would encourage everyone to listen to this again and again and again. And I'm going to be, pulling some clips from this and just replaying it for motivation. I'm wondering if that's kind of what you're getting at, and how the work you're doing at NAHCA is helping to empower CNAs.
It is. It's all about empowerment. But we just like me, not every CNA needs to become an administrator or a DON to be empowered, right? My journey just opened my eyes more and more and more of how we can address the situations and how they're happening. So many people throw things at CNAs thinking it's incentives, or this will make them work harder, or that'll make them. And, here's
pizza
the
parties.
thing. Pizza parties. And, even with DoorDash, Jordan, nursing homes can't seem to get a hot pizza for night shift. Even with DoorDash and all of the Uber Eats and all that, we can't get night shift their own hot, good, fresh pizzas. Mm-mm. And so, I don't want to beat administrators and DONs up either, because number one, impossible jobs that they're doing. I follow the administrator forum on Facebook, and my life was miserable as an administrator. It really was. I thought it was going to be a dream job. I asked a group of CNAs a few years ago down in Kentucky, about 30 of them I was in a session with, and I said, when's the last time you told your administrator and DON they were doing a great job? And one gal down at the end of the table says, what for? All ours does is sit on the phone, talk to her kids all day. I said, you know what? That's what I thought they did too. That's why I became one. And then I found out that it's hell on earth, because you can't please anybody. Administrators are supposed to think about this. If you had to have an open door, and there's a sign on the bulletin board that if you don't have an open door, call compliance at corporate, right? So anybody can rat you out for closing your doors for a few minutes to try to get some peace. Nursing home administrators and DONs are prisoner to what's urgent, not what is important. Culture is important. And it's urgent the way we look at it, right? But if it's fallen on two people's shoulders to fix the culture, it can't happen. I'm too busy. I don't have time. I love my CNAs. I respect them, but they don't know I do, because all I have time for is to tell them what they're doing wrong. Everything in this profession is about what's wrong. State comes in. Nobody, they never go, oh, this is amazing, right? This is great. Oh, you guys are doing a fabulous job. No, they're there to see what's wrong. Therefore, everybody that works there, everybody that consults there, every visit is to see what's wrong, because we got to be ready for state. You know what I want to have happen one day, hopefully before I die? I got to move my chair out of my way, so if I don't want to fall. I'll back up over it and crash right here. I fell off a stage one time in a dress, in a skirt. I never wear those anymore. That was not a pretty sight for the 200 guests that were at the banquet. But, oh gosh, now I forgot my train of thought or where I was going before that. But I don't believe that there is a need for our residents to go without staff. We've got to start addressing each and every state that is standing in the way, the regulations. I'm fine. The boards of nursing, they don't like online training. Do you know what I'm starting to tell people that tell us no? I'm going to hold them accountable for resident suffering. If they cannot open the floodgate and allow for mass recruiting, mass training, the culture change starts at the beginning. So CNAs know what culture is, right? They can't change something they've had decades being beat down, right? Just because they get a dog and a few plants, that is not culture change. People have said I'm against culture change, like what we know it as that came about 30 years ago, person-centered care. I'm all about person-centered care. I'm just not about phony person-centered care. You ask a CNA, how many residents could you care for? Rachel, I'm looking at you now and I can tell you did something with your hair this morning. You brushed your teeth. Your teeth are nice and white, which is beautiful, by the way. I'm very envious. I've been
You're making me feel so good. Thank you.
But I will tell you, you've put a little makeup on. You've put some things. You maybe have some eye stuff on. I can't tell for sure. But how many do residents still deserve that?
100%.
If it was important to you today, Rachel, will it still be important to you when you're 90, or do you just want to look like you got drug out of bed and didn't even get your face washed?
That's such an important point. We forget about how we feel now. We still want to feel that way 10, 20, 30, 40 years from now.
And people...
Oh, I was just going to say, it goes back to the empowerment and confidence, giving that back to the residents too. And Lori, I know I do. I saw Leanne wrote earlier, this needs to be 2 hours long. We say this to all of us, but I truly mean we need to have you back. But I want to turn it back over to you, Lori, as we come up on time here, because one, I want you to share where more people can find out about the work that you're doing here in NAHCA, and also what you want to leave our audience with today. And I want to kind of turn it over to you here as we come up on time.
I should have asked in the beginning what kind of time format we were working with, but I'm so used to people just cutting me off, and I appreciate that, because
please.
When I'm working on a clock, it kind of intimidates me and I mix up a little bit. But what I want to leave I believe Lisa Hauk is on, and she's on my team. If she can put in the comments how people can reach me, that would be lovely. Probably easier than folks trying to write it down. Until we stop beating on nursing homes and start investing in them. I was not surprised at all nursing homes were wiped out in COVID. They've only been required to have 1 hour of in-service in infection control annually. Oh, wow. How were people at the bedside with no more education than that? And again, that in itself is saying CNAs aren't important, right? Look at their continuing education. It's all about compliance. We have online classes all the time. Jordan and his organization CARE has partnered with us on continuing education. We've already had hundreds of courses taken. CNAs don't have to be mandated to learn. They need to be motivated to learn. When I hear a DON say to me about our online training, I can't even get them to do their online in-services. I'm not going to invest in anything else online because they won't do their online compliance in-services. And I said, do you know why? They're boring. They're compliance. CNAs want to go beyond compliance. They're not comfortable with minimum. They want maximum. And that's what we're going to give them. And I thank you for allowing us the opportunity to talk about this, because there are no shortage of people in America that will care for our elders when they hear the right story.
Preach.
I'm not crying. You're crying. That, Lori, you we'll have you back. Don't you worry. I'll have you back. Whether it's in my home or on caring conversations, I will have you back. This has been amazing. Thank you so much. This is a great way to end this topic. And next week we start a new series of conversations around benefits. What we've been talking about, and what I'm happy to end with Lori on, is what does person-centeredness look like when we're talking about management, when we're talking about our Careforce, because we all want person-centered care, but we don't really know what that means. And so I hope that these series of episodes, if you just tuning into this one, go back and watch and learn something. Lori is just took it on home. And thank you, Lori. I didn't give Lori any notes other than just be yourself and you'll get it. And that was the best note I could have given. Lori, thank you so much again.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. It's been great. And I am going to go back and watch some of your previous broadcasts, and we'll look forward to future opportunities. It's great when CNAs are recognized this way. And so I'm quite pleased.
Lori, thank you. Jordan and I will be here every Wednesday streaming live on the Foresight LinkedIn page and our YouTube channel.
I will be on next week. I will be given leave, and who will be stepping in for me is our wonderful leader and CEO, Charles.
Yeah.
Very excited.
For the next 2 weeks, I will be off on a Wednesday, doing something else.
You're leaving me with Charles?
I'm leaving you with Charles. We'll see how that goes. He'll probably have to be fired, and I'll come back. But 2 weeks of Charles. And then if you want to learn more about NAHCA, you can go to NAHCA.org. That is NAHCA.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
CNA.org, as NAHCA.org. NAHCA does amazing work. You can be a member as an individual, as a CNA, but you can also sponsor your CNAs if you are an operator, to give them the opportunity to have community and advocacy. The amazing work that NAHCA does. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yes, Lori,
thank you.
This was so special for me to hear your passion, and it really makes me think of my mom. So very special. And guys, we will see you all